I started writing for yearbook, and it progressed into an interest in wanting to write for either a newspaper or a magazine. And then I got interested in broadcast. So I ended up being at IU in journalism to end up, one, learning the technical side of being in front of a camera, but also developing myself as a writer. And then it was in W200 with Romaine Rubinis when I really started to take an interest in writing artistically and thinking that I actually was skilled as a writer, because it was in her class, or actually outside of her class, where she pulled me aside one day and said, Veronica, can we schedule a time for us to get together for a coffee and talk about your writing? And she told me that she thought I was really talented and that it was something that she couldn't teach as a teacher. It was instinct as a writer, and that I needed to pursue it and develop it. Prior to that, I hadn't really, thought of myself as being much of a poet. I was definitely interested in poetry. I felt it was necessary to start working on creative writing and building my creative writing portfolio in order to get into a PhD program. And, well, it's one of those things. How can you really call yourself a writer if you're not writing? So it was a now or never. If I'm ever going to be a writer, now is the time to take it on and do it, because otherwise I just need to put that dream aside and move on and do something else with my life and stop feeling that frustration of not being a writer. This project got started as getting myself out of a rut and having other friends that were creative that were also kind of in the same boat that I was in, with knowing that we weren't happy with where we were at and having more education for what we were doing and wanting to put that education to use, or at least feel like we were getting our money's worth out of the education that we had earned. But at the same time doing something that we were passionate about and not feeling like we were just going through the motions and locking ourselves to a cubicle that we didn't necessarily want. That's how the Bar Wench Blues came into being. What it's spawning into, since taking it from just talking about it and then putting it into motion as an actual real life project, it's become more of being able to collaborate with other people and meld, especially considering the fact that when you look at a bar, it's not just one group of people. It's a public space where all sorts of walks of life come together and intermingle, and a lot of times, there'll be like threads of commonality, like a gay bar, so people are gay, that's why they gather at this particular bar, or it's a biker bar, so this is where the bikers go, and then you have your martini bar, and your little hole-in-the-wall neighborhood bars. So you have all these different walks of life. And so to capture what it really is like to be in that environment and live in that environment and work in that environment, I feel like I need to open this project up to be a more collaborative and have more voices besides just my own experience. So that's a big part of why I want to put this project on Kickstarter, not only to get funding to help actually get it into printing and published, but also to get the other voices into the project and to get those cross experiences of how we come from different backgrounds, but we have all these areas of commonality, and the chaoticness and the whirlwind of so much stuff going on, like little stories going on behind the bar, and what you see isn't necessarily the true story behind things and how we put fronts in front of things. But the vision, what I see Bar Wench Blues being on Kickstarter and the purpose of getting the funding, is for other creative types to be able to add their voice, whether it be a metaphor or a simile, or they want to contribute a title or a theme or something along that nature to help build the poem, and to have more than to have multi-layers of voices that are outside of my own, but that are knowing that they're not of my own voice, and then bringing them into my vision and making them work together to tell a bigger story is kind of what I'm hoping I'll be able to do, to where I can accurately capture all those different walks of lives and different personalities and the chaos and the craziness of drinking and all these different people, and you just don't know what's going to happen or walk through that door at any given time, and looking for a party and looking to forget, and all the reasons why people go out to a bar, whether it's to commiserate life or to celebrate life. And so I want to capture all of that, and that's why I feel that to really do this project right, I would need to be on a site like Kickstarter, and to have that collaboration of people contributing in that fashion. It's daunting when you sit and think about what all is necessary to go into a project. And so being able to find like the library and having the people there be willing to help me out with questions, and having like a little support group, just getting the project going and people taking an interest that way. It's awesome to feel that you're connected to something else and you're not just going through it alone. And I think that right there is the bottom line of this project, is just knowing that other people can experience all the things that go into being a bar wench, and having your dreams not turn out the way that you want them to, and being able to connect to that and go, you know what, life didn't go the way I had planned it, but I can make it better, and I can there's other options. So that's basically what it all boils down to. It's just creating other options and not feeling stuck where you're at.